Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Renu Arora, former Head Education and Training Division, NISCARE CSIR, New Delhi. I am here on behalf of Dr. Pawan Kumar Gupta, former Director, Rajasthan University Library. I am going to cover the module Encyclopedias, Use and Evaluation. This is under the paper Information Sources, Systems and Services. This module intends to acquaint the users with the concept of encyclopedias as sources of information. It permits the users to understand various types of encyclopedias which serve as background source of information. After learning this module, the users will be able to understand the usefulness of different types of encyclopedias and will come to know some typical encyclopedias available in libraries. The users will be able to make use of encyclopedias to search specific information. The objectives of this module are firstly to establish the need for encyclopedias as sources of information. Secondly, to categorize the types of encyclopedias. Thirdly, to carry out evaluation of encyclopedias and to learn about a few encyclopedias for use as sources of background information. We'll also be taking a look at several examples of encyclopedias, including some of the electronic version. The term encyclopedia is often applied to reference works. Encyclopedias are publications which are having articles on one or all branches of knowledge. These are mostly arranged in an alphabetical order. These are often profusely illustrated and have a detailed bibliography to make it authentic and to afford further reading by the users. Encyclopedias have a good index and many cross-references to help the users to have a better and easy access to complete information available in the encyclopedias. Encyclopedias are also termed as cyclopedias, which is often restricted in user to smaller encyclopedias, limited in scope to a single branch of information or a relatively similar smaller subject area. Encyclopedias are extremely valuable in making available factual, general, and background information on a variety of subjects to the users and hence suitable for solving regular inquiries on the reference desk. To find this type of information, people visit libraries or nowadays approach internet resources, e-encyclopedias, etc. Encyclopedias are of many types. Generally, the encyclopedias are grouped into two broad categories, the general encyclopedias and the subject encyclopedias. The encyclopedias may also be grouped by the size or number of volumes, that is, a single volumed encyclopedia or multi-volumed encyclopedias. The encyclopedias are also divided by the user group for whom these are intended. For example, there are children encyclopedias, junior encyclopedias, and adult encyclopedias. The encyclopedias may also be grouped by the area covered, that is, universal encyclopedia, or regional encyclopedia, or national encyclopedia. Or encyclopedias are grouped as part of use of language as a characteristics, that is, English encyclopedia, or German encyclopedia, or French encyclopedia. General encyclopedia. As we have already stated, there are two categories of encyclopedias, general and subject encyclopedia. Let's now discuss the general encyclopedia. These are meant for all types of users interested in general information about any branch of knowledge. Secondly, these include a large number of articles giving key information on all subjects, that is, about all the branches of knowledge. General encyclopedias are usually arranged in an alphabetical order, however, some are arranged in a classified order. As the name suggests, general encyclopedias are intended for the general readers. As the knowledge grows and keeps changing, the encyclopedias bring out rather occasionally revised editions. The reason being the heavy cost and time required to do such an extensive work. So most of the general encyclopedias are bringing out their revision on a regular basis. Many of the general encyclopedias, in place of issuing new and revised editions, therefore bring out supplements or annuals or yearbooks to keep them up to date. Most of the general encyclopedias are multi-volumed sets. Let's now take an example of a general encyclopedia. It's one of the most famous encyclopedias and it's seen on almost all the major libraries of the world. This is the New Encyclopedia Britannica. The New Encyclopedia Britannica, the 15th edition of the same, which is published from Chicago, and it is available in 30 volumes. It has been extremely popular encyclopedia with a long history. Its first edition was published in 1768 to 1771 in 3 volumes. The 15th edition of Encyclopedia Britannica was published with a modified title as the New Encyclopedia Britannica. This consists of 30 volumes organized in 3 parts. Later on, it added 2 more volumes to provide traditional index also. The Encyclopedia Britannica is organized in 3 parts. First one is Propoedia, which has 1 volume. Second one is Micropedia. This has 12 volumes. The third one is Macropedia, which has 17 volumes, and lastly the Index. This has 2 volumes. Examples of general encyclopedias. First one is Encyclopedia Britannica. Encyclopedia Britannica has large presence in libraries and information centers. It has been extremely popular encyclopedia with a long history. The latest edition consists of 30 volumes organized in 3 parts. Part 1 is named as Propoedia. It consists of 1 volume. Part 2, named as Micropedia, consists of 10 volumes. Part 3, named as Macropedia, consists of 19 volumes. This edition was offered a new approach to learn a subject, as the Propoedia acts as a guide to the encyclopedia and gives an outline of complete knowledge and can be considered as a mapping of knowledge presented in the Macropedia. Micropedia works as a detailed index to the Macropedia and provides brief information with each entry. Its entries link with the articles of the Macropedia, giving volume number and page number of the Macropedia as the reference. Micropedia entries include a large number of cross-references, which enhance its value as an index to the Macropedia. The Micropedia is helpful as a source for quick access to brief information on any aspect of knowledge. Encyclopedia Americana. Published from New York by Grolier, it is in 30 volumes. The first edition was published in 1903 to 1904 as a 16-volume set. The 1912 edition carried its title only Americana. The encyclopedia contains short articles on specific subjects. The encyclopedia's main strength is American towns and cities with abundance of biographical sketches. A new revised edition was published in 1818 to 1820. It is a good comprehensive multi-volume encyclopedia for general use. Most of the articles are signed and carry bibliographies. It has adopted the continuous revision policy. Every year some articles are revised, but new editions are published at intervals. Handy search features make the Encyclopedia Americana very easy to use. These are fact boxes which highlight statistics and essential information, chronological tables which provide a quick view of history, cross-references direct readers to related articles and subjects. Another example is the Word Book Encyclopedia 2013. This is in 22 volumes published by Spinescape. The Word Book Encyclopedia is a general encyclopedia published in the United States. It was first published in 1917. It is a good all-purpose junior encyclopedia for school children above the age of 15 years. Arranged by word and word, it is arranged word by word alphabetical order. It contains short signed articles with bibliographies. The Word Book Yearbook reviewing events of previous year is also published every year. The Word Book is publicized as a family encyclopedia for readers above 15 years of age. It claims to be the most up-to-date commercial encyclopedia with 33% of its pages revised every year. Illustrations account for about one-third of the layout and some 80% are in color. The encyclopedia makes heavy use of cross-referencing and contains a large analytical index of more than 150,000 entries. Subject encyclopedias. The subject encyclopedias are restricted in the coverage as these include information on a single, broad or a narrow subject. For example, science and technology could be a subject or sociology could be a subject. Thus, often these are also known as special encyclopedias. Subject encyclopedias are available in almost all the subjects. Therefore, these are available in large numbers. Like the general encyclopedias, these are also arranged alphabetically or by the subject. A very famous example of the subject encyclopedia is the McGraw-Hill Encyclopedia of Science and Technology. This encyclopedia is covering the various branches of science and technology, and it is available in many volumes. Subject encyclopedias are also available for junior readers as well. For example, there is an encyclopedia which is for students or younger children covering the area of science and technology. Besides that, we have an encyclopedia in sociology. Then other branches of sociology, etc., also have plenty of subject encyclopedias. For researchers, subject specialists, etc., subject encyclopedias have a great value. These lead them to their research, and the different details are also covered in these encyclopedias because they act as a starting point, especially the bibliography provided at the end of a particular article which is covered in the encyclopedia. These bibliographies lead the researchers to other references. So we have seen that subject encyclopedias are very useful for all kinds of readers requiring specific subject knowledge. McGraw-Hill Encyclopedia of Science and Technology. This is one of the best examples of a subject encyclopedia. Published by McGraw-Hill, it's available in 20 volumes. The encyclopedia is a serious attempt to discuss science and technology. It contains more and discusses at depth information on science and technology than other general encyclopedias. 2012 edition is a major revision with 2,500 new and revised entries and updates on more than 7,000 entries with a large number of illustrations, which are about 13,000 in two colors, and there are 100 full color plates. The value of subject content can be estimated by a single fact that more than 5,000 international scientists and engineers, which include numerous Nobel laureates, have contributed to this edition. This lays emphasis on pure science and technology. The articles usually at the end have an elaborate bibliography. The users can search and locate information in many ways besides finding an article alphabetically in the volumes. They can use the index with over 150,000 entries searched through topical index, which is a list of all articles in a specific subject, and can use the study guides. The study guides are provided for the major disciplines, that is physics, engineering and technology, chemistry, geosciences, biology and health. All these features are included in its 20 volumes. Single volume encyclopedias. Due to growth in the number of subjects and increasing specialization, there is a tremendous growth in the number of single volume reference works published as encyclopedias. This is due to various reasons. Firstly, growth in the number of subjects. Second, increasing specialization. Thirdly, increasing demand. Fourthly, need of even individual families. And lastly, single volume encyclopedias are often considered as a special separate group. So, due to increasing demand, more and more single volume encyclopedias are available in the market. In its fourth hardcover edition, published in a handy size in 1308 pages in 2000, the Cambridge Encyclopedia now is significantly expanded and updated in its fourth edition, being a handy volume. And as it is not intended for the subject specialists, it can be used in homes, offices, etc. Arranged alphabetically with an easy to use, ready reference section with broad coverage from people and places to scientific concepts, the media, philosophical ideas, etc. It is a useful source of information. Let's take a look at some Indian encyclopedias. There has been effort in India to produce encyclopedias in different Indian languages. Some examples are in 1846 to 1851, Vidya Kalpanatam Artha Midbha Vidyaslika Rekna Encyclopedia in Bengali by Krishna Mohan Banerjee was published. It was published in 13 volumes. There was Cyclopedia of India and of Eastern and Southern Asia by Edward Balfour. It was printed in 1857. Janakara Yani, a Gujarati encyclopedia, published in 1918 in 9 volumes. Hindi Vishwakosh, published in 13 volumes during 1960 to 1970 from Varanasi by Nagari Pracharani Sabha. Then Vigyanam Timanathapuram, published from Balan Prakashan during 1956 to 69 in 6 volumes. Marathi Vishwakosh, published from Bombay by Maharashtra Rajya Shikshita Sanskriti Mandal in 1973. Sankshipt Udaya Janakosha, an encyclopedia from Orissa, published from Cuttack by New Student Store in 1963 to 65. It was published in 4 volumes. Encyclopedia of Scheduled Castes in India, published in 2007 by Gyan Books. Besides this, there have been several other regional efforts in India. Let's take a look at electronic considerations with regard to encyclopedias. With increasing web access to sources in the institutions as well as with the individual users, many libraries are considering switching over to electronic version of encyclopedias as well. For example, Funk and Wagnall's encyclopedia has already ceased its print version. It is not evident that all publishers will follow this. Some of the publishers are making available both print as well as electronic version as CD-ROM, DVD, and offering free as well as fee-based access on the web. In addition to that, due to rising cost of material in libraries and also space problem, many librarians are considering going in for the electronic version. There are several encyclopedias presently available in the electronic version. Your course material is providing the details on the such available encyclopedias. The electronic version provides easy access, many times free access and immediate access to an article or any piece of information required by the users. So more and more librarians are shifting towards the electronic version, or you can say the online version of the encyclopedias. Many of the subject encyclopedias are also publishing their updates as electronic version. Another major benefit of having the electronic version is that updation becomes immediate, because in the print version, updation takes a very long time, because whenever the printed version will come, then only the updation will appear, but not so in the electronic version. So the electronic consideration is one of the chief factors when we consider about encyclopedias in libraries. With regard to the electronic considerations, some encyclopedias available in CD-ROM or DVD format are Encyclopedia Britannica, available from a site http www.britannica.com. There is the Kirk-Othmer Encyclopedia of Chemical Technology from the site http jwsedck.interscience.wiley.com. Thirdly, Blackwell Encyclopedia of Sociology. This is available online, free access, and updated 3 times a year. It is available from the site http www.sociologyencyclopedia.com/public. Columbia Encyclopedia, available from http www.bartleby.com. Encarta Encyclopedia, available from http encarta.msn.com. Nupedia.com is available from http www.nupedia.com. In addition to this, Encyclopedia Americana, Crompton's Interactive Encyclopedia, Grolier Multimedia Encyclopedia, Microsoft Encarta are also available in CD-ROM version. WordBook Millennium also has WordBook Discoveries in DVD. There are many more general as well as specific subject encyclopedias in more than one version, which are available in electronic version. Encyclopedias have online access, and electronic versions are very cost effective for libraries in the last few decades. And most of the publishers are now offering free online access to encyclopedias. This enables them to save the funds and gainfully employ use of acquiring other sources of information. Although electronic encyclopedias with web-based access are becoming common and cost-effective too, cost alone should not be the reason to switch over to the electronic access to encyclopedias in the libraries. Other considerations like availability of space, category of users, number of clients to be served, institutional policy of preservation, and overall policy of the library to acquire electronic resources should be considered before opting for electronic version of encyclopedias. Uses of encyclopedias. International library experts and professionals specializing in the reference services have emphasized the value of encyclopedias as sources of information. Statements of Dennis J. Grogan from his book Encyclopedias, Yearbooks, Dictionaries, and Statistical Sources states that often, justifiably so, the source of first resort, the encyclopedia, is perhaps the best known category of reference book, and it is all too easy to underestimate them. On the other hand, William A. Katz has termed the encyclopedia as the most useful single source of information. R.L. Collinson has marked the value of encyclopedia by saying that it is the basis of any inquiry work. Similarly, E.P. Sheehy has viewed encyclopedia as the backbone of much of the reference work in any library. Let's now take a look at use of encyclopedias. In fact, for all categories of library users, encyclopedias have several uses. Some of the uses are: firstly, the encyclopedias are first approach for simple fact finding, but these are very useful in many other ways. Some of the uses of encyclopedia are given below. Firstly, there may be a lot of information on a given subject topic available in the library. It's not possible for a user to look at all the documents, but encyclopedias offer a very good solution. They give concise, digested, and in some cases, simplified account on a topic. Often, what users need is a brief, concise, and digested write up on the subject and not a detailed account as is given in books or monographs. There may be many areas in which library may not hold monographs or books due to a variety of reasons. The encyclopedia is here to help and provide information. Sometimes users may seek information on topics which are limited in scope and are on very specialized areas. And libraries may not have much on the particular topic in their collections. So the way out is encyclopedias, as encyclopedias help us with information in such cases. In such cases, material finding approach is satisfied by the encyclopedias. In many areas which are current, there may not be much information, but there may be a few books in these areas. So encyclopedias along with their supplements, annuals, yearbooks are a rich source of information in these areas as well. Journal encyclopedias can serve as a gateway to understand the most profound and intricate knowledge human beings have yet to produce. As Grogan has rightly pointed out, New Britannica availed the services of 4,300 scholars including Nobel laureates Milton Friedman and Linus Pauling, etc., in preparing the set of the encyclopedias. In addition to that, there are several other uses of encyclopedias. For example, if too detailed information on a topic is required, that too is available from encyclopedias. The only thing is that we have to go to a specialized or a very big or a prominent encyclopedia. For example, Word Book. That is one of the best sources for providing information on any country or any available topic in the world. Uses of encyclopedias. Besides the uses of encyclopedias already elaborated, there are many further uses of encyclopedias. These are bibliographies provided at the end of an encyclopedic article lead to documents that are useful for further study on the topic. Encyclopedias act as a subject index to knowledge. The indexes of the encyclopedias are quite detailed. Encyclopedias usually present information in an impartial and balanced manner. They deal with all points of view on a subject. The monographs, on the other hand, are considered to discuss the point of view of its author in greater details. So, therefore, encyclopedias present information in a very balanced manner. Encyclopedias are useful sources to know about genesis and growth of a topic. The articles in encyclopedias normally present a process, object, custom, practice, etc. in a historical perspective. It may be interesting to note that the number of index entries in an encyclopedia most often outnumber the articles in the encyclopedia. In a large number of encyclopedias, the number of index entries may be 10 to 20 times the number of articles available in the encyclopedia. Reference sources do not cover less popular persons in different subject areas. Very often, encyclopedias are the only sources of biographical information on a person who is not very famous and thus not covered in standard biographical reference sources. Encyclopedias many times are a rich source of geographical information. The encyclopedias may at times be a good source to begin search about a geographical feature. Even the older editions of some encyclopedias are considered valuable. They provide the state of knowledge at the time these were published for almost any topic. These topics or areas may not even be included in the later editions of the encyclopedias. In such a condition, these are of greater value. For example, Encyclopedia Britannica's 9th and 11th edition is often cited as examples for their scholarly articles. Color plates, black and white photographs, and other illustrations are profusely used in encyclopedias and are very helpful in understanding a subject. A point of caution, however, is relevant here. Although editors of encyclopedias lay special emphasis on scholarly treatment of subject, but the researcher should not rely on encyclopedic work and should suspect every statement and do best to verify it. A librarian may guide a scholar to a subject encyclopedia to begin before moving on to a more extended research, and the researcher can consult and also refer to the sources given in the bibliography. But scholars should also refer to the latest publications to get updated and have reliable information. Before acquiring an encyclopedia, the encyclopedia should be evaluated. Compilation and producing an encyclopedia happens to be a costly project. The reputed publishers do make efforts to have a good team of expert writers, good indexing persons for preparing indexes, artists for layout plans and preparing illustrations, effective editorial team, etc. For evaluation of encyclopedias, librarians should select encyclopedias depending upon the availability of funds, need of their users, electronic resource acceptability, space, etc. Like other reference sources, a variety of checkpoints can be used for this purpose. These are: firstly, authority; secondly, scope and purpose; thirdly, treatment; fourthly, arrangement; fifthly, format; sixthly, revision; seventhly, limitation; and eighthly, special features. In this module, we have discussed need for encyclopedias as sources of information, categorization of encyclopedias. These are grouped broadly into two categories, that is, general encyclopedias and subject encyclopedias. We have also taken a look at examples of encyclopedias. Indian examples are also covered as part of Indian encyclopedias. Then electronic considerations in comparison to printed version have also been discussed. We have also seen the use of encyclopedias for the library readers. And lastly, we have seen how encyclopedias can be evaluated. The other details related to all the encyclopedias, their examples with their pictures, etc., are covered in the written part of this particular module. Thank you.